Boxing fans, over here with Coach Garcia from Los Angeles. Welcome to New York. How you guys feeling?
We're feeling good. Good. Nice place. I mean, it's raining now, but
Hey, but like I always says, there's no place like New York. I mean, with all due respect to California and other places, New York, the mecca of boxing. Tell us what is the reason that you guys came all the way from Cali to being over here in New York?
well, I have one of my fighters, Diego Pacheco, is fighting today. On Saturday, on the undercard of Andy Ruiz and Joshua. He's in that card, so that's the reason he's signed with Matchroom Promotions. So.
That's awesome to hear that. Eventually, fighters from where you guys come from always brings excitement, but was the New York fans over here, what are we expecting to see from Diego Pacheco?
Well, I mean, obviously he's still a young fighter. He's learning as each fight goes. But he's gonna be something special. He's a boxer puncher. He's Mexican American, so he can box and he can punch. So just keep an eye on this kid. And he's gonna be a good fighter.
That's gonna be a good fight. You already mentioned the son, Eddie Hearn. You gotta give prompts to Eddie Hearn that he's actually putting good fights over here in New York, and not only New York, he's putting fights in most likely everywhere. When it comes to fighter and trainer, how is the relationship between Diego and yourself, Coach?
I think our relationship is more closer than probably other fighters. I mean, we're always, us as coaches, for it to work, it has to be a real close relationship. But me and him been through a lot, so I see him more like a son. I don't see him, of course he's my fighter, but I see him more as a son. We've just been through everywhere, in the amateurs, traveling here all over the U.S. and Mexico. He was a two-time national champion in Mexico. He represented Mexico in the Continentals and the U.S. The World Championships. So, because of that, we were traveling here and over there. So we just spent a lot of time together. Most of the time.
That's really amazing to hear your story, because the reason that I asked this question is because recently we saw, unfortunately we saw this situation. We still don't really know, 100%, even though he and Abel Sanchez already explained, a couple details, but I don't know, and if it is, the whole story. But I think time will speak, when it comes to Abel and Triple G. And the reason that I asked this question is because they split, and I think they were many years working as a coach and trainer. So the reason that I asked how is the relationship with you? Fight fans, they would love to hear that, because the main question over here is there loyalty in boxing? What can you say about it?
You know what, I think to me, one of my things is loyalty is everything, because at the end of the day, it's not just sacrifice. The whole team sacrifices. Just like he sacrifices. He's being a boxer is really hard. It's not. That's what they say. It's a lonely sport. You have to get away from everybody. When you're in training camp and when you're training. But not only the fighter, it's also the trainer that does the same thing. So to me, loyalty is everything. I don't know their situation, why they split, and we're hearing a lot of different stuff. But if it's because of money, to me it's something real sad, that is going on. But then again, like I said, I don't know their situation.
Yeah, eventually it's like you said it, you address it correctly. It is a sad situation, because at the end of the day, I consider, in my behalf, I feel like a trainer and coach is like similar like a marriage. And if something happens to your fighter, I think your fighter has to be truthful and in order to speak, what's going on in his life. And you could be a counselor also. And what's the details that sometimes they bring it at the table. Same way it could be in yourself. Probably you don't feel like to train your boxer or something. It could going on at that moment, and I think that's where relationship is built up. So in this case, you said that your relationship with him is like a family, right?
Yeah, it's more of a father and son, and I'm pretty sure he feels the same way. Like I said, we spend a lot of time together, and we had where we had some struggles in the past, and we come through it. Obviously, his parents. Cause I say his parents because he's a very young kid. When he started with me, he was young and traveling with me everywhere. So practically his parents, put that trust in me. So in that case, we have to see that everything that is around him is good, so he can stay good. So yeah, it becomes more like a father figure in that case. So just to keep him focused and keep him in track.
That's so great to hear, the coach, because in these days, fighters, and not only fighters, I'm talking about the youth, the generation needs somebody, a role model, and I'm glad to see coaches that are involved in boxers. Coaches goes around and probably teach in schools or going somewhere, but when it comes from you experience, have you ever checked in the schools, like in order to go and talk to the kids, or what's the main role or purpose that you have in order to be a coach?
Well, in that case, we are very involved with the kids in our community. My gym is right in the center of South Central, and the reason I opened it is to help kids around there. I grew up in South Central, so I know what it is to live there. Diego grew up in South Central, and he's a big example to where not everybody needs to follow that path, that negative path, I should say. And the gym, I think, was a big part of it. He wasn't a normal kid, I should say, from South Central. Not just him. We have other kids. My own sons. My son is 22. And he never got involved in the activities that there are in the streets because of boxing. So I think that a lot of people don't understand that boxing is very disciplined, and then at the same time, you don't have time to go and get involved in other activities that they are out there, in South Central, So that's one of the purposes that we have the gym in South Central.
That's awesome to hear, the coach, because we've seen that a lot of times, and it's everywhere, that this generation, it needs somebody, a role model, and I'm glad to see a person like you and other coaches that I always give my respect. And I always mention this quote to the coaches make champions, in order that they bring and put knowledge on these kids, because I think we're living in hard times, and I'm so proud when I see coaches involved in certain programs that they help the kids, they help the fighters, they especially stay out of the street, because the street doesn't leave anything good for nobody. And it's something that I would say, I'm proud of every coach, and I give it, a shout out to all coaches worldwide, because it's a hard work, and I always tell everyone there should be a day that we could celebrate the coaches, because as you mentioned, you've been through certain adversities with your fighter, and only you guys know what you guys been through it. So at the end of the day, I think it's like a family thing,